Hey, I'm Dukes on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and GreenSunsZenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. And these patrons allow that to continue to happen. You may have also noticed I've stopped adding ads during my YouTube videos, and that's not just a quality choice, but also a direct outcome of having people support me through platforms like Patreon, doing a nation deck list. So a huge thank you to you. I love what I do. I love being a community member of the Maverick and even Depths communities, the wider Legacy community in general, and it's a privilege. So thank you. All right, let's get back into it. Yo, hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Rainbow Depths. This is a deck that was, for those of you who don't know, popularized by Thomas Hepp, who took it to, I believe, 65 to 70 trophies in a season, and currently holds the record for the most trophies in a season. This list is very similar to what he ran. I believe the only difference is looking at Yavimaya Cradle of Growth instead of City of Brass, and the Grafdigger's Cage in the board I thought was interesting for the Green Suns decks, and actually doesn't hit us, which is really nice, so we'll see how that performs. But otherwise, pretty similar in everything. Legolas's quick reflexes, sadly just too much. It just is 1 mana too much, which sounds ridiculous, I know, but in this sort of deck, Not of This World is kind of the be-all end-all, and if you do have a mana, then you do have crop rotation for Sejiri Steppe to give protection. So there we are. That's the deck tech. Obviously we're looking to go off with Dark Depths by either removing the counters with Vampire Hexmage or creating a copy with Thespian Stage that becomes a copy of Dark Depths with no counters on it, because it did not enter the battlefield and therefore does not come into play with the 10 counters. So yeah, looking forward to this. If you want to check out more Rainbow Depths content, I do have more on YouTube at Dukes on Twitch, but Crucible of Words is also a great source for Depths content and general Legacy content on YouTube right now, so definitely check out their content if you are into Depths content. All right, gameplay, very cool. For any Australians listening on YouTube or Twitch, I'm going to CanCon, which is really cool. So I'll be playing in the 7-Point Highlander National Championships, and then also in the pre-modern event on Sunday before I fly out. So very much looking forward to that. All right. Up against our opponent, interesting hand. So we do have the combo. We have Vampire Hexmage and Sylvan Scrying as a way to find it. One interesting thing here is if we go Mana Confluence into Hand Disruption and then Thespian Stage into Scrying for Dark Depths, if we top deck Crop Rotation over the next 2 turns, we just have a turn 3 Dark Depths thanks to cropping away the Mana Confluence for a Urborg or a Yavimaya, which turns the Dark Depths into a mana producing land, which is kind of cool. Hey Jerry, very cool to see you. Hope you're doing well. Have to play Squash again soon. I really enjoyed that. All right, we're keeping. I think here we're just leading with the Thoughtseize to make sure it connects, but we have a lot of great draws. Even fast mana off the top would be great. It would allow us to Duress and Sylvan Scrying next turn potentially. But I think here we're looking to take either a permission spell or potentially if our opponent is going to win this turn. So here we actually don't care about any of these cards other than Ponder. There is obviously a Wasteland here, which is a bit of an issue. We do have the Boseiju for that if that does come to it, but I think here we're just going to take the Ponder, allow them to have the Bolt and the Bowmaster. It is interesting that if they go land pass and for our turn we want to Duress, they bolt us, the Duress doesn't resolve, but I think here the Ponder is just a kind of easy take. Ponder Finding, maybe a Daze or a Force Will down the line could really hit us. They might also just want to restart the game here. And they do, they're actually quite aggressive with their Wasteland, so that's pretty good for us. I think here, so thinking of a Sejiri Steppe, we could play it at sorcery speed to win the game to get through, say, a Delver, a Murktide, or a flipped DRC if this is Delver. But I think right now just having the mana source is better. So this turn we'll play the Sejiri Steppe. Next turn Boseiju into Scrying. And then go from there. Stifle's pretty cool. We can't do anything just yet. But we'll play Boseiju. Scrying for depths. I could also Scrying for something like a City Brass to turn on these spells, but for now I'm pretty happy just to see if they have the combo. I think next turn we'll play the Thespian stage, hopefully copy an island, and then maybe untap. See what we can do from there. So they played the Bowmaster. There's a Wasteland. They're actually quite aggressive with it. So here we can't Stifle. There's nothing great to do. We can't, of course, get a basic into play. Two, 4, 6. So they're still off Murktide, which is nice. One of the Urborgs off the top at a later date would be cool. That's interesting. Do I want to play the... So another Wasteland isn't the worst on either of these lands, because we don't really care about them. The depths we do, somewhat. We have another one, so... If we play the Gemstone this turn, we get to hold up Stifle, potentially. Look at their hand with Duress. They didn't really play anything, which is interesting. Turn 5. 4 lands. They have missed a land drop. Stifle depth. I don't believe... I believe you can't stifle your own depths like that. I believe you... it just comes into play with the 2020, with the counters, because it enters the battlefield with 10 ice counters. It's not when it enters, add 10 counters. But all good. But I think it's worth it. It's definitely worth duressing. I could try to keep the duress for the turn I want to cast something, but I think here it's going to be fine. The bulb. Okay. We take the Force, which is nice, but they do have some nice follow-up. There's DRC. Okay. Luckily, this Bauble won't find them a land that can play this turn to get the Bowmaster down again, but they're very close to a 2-turn clock. 10. 8. Yeah. Very, very close. Yes, in Stifle Knot, very, very cool interaction. I like that a lot. Hey, JBC. Yes, very cool to hear that I'll be at CanCon. Very cool to hear. Yeah, I'll be at CanCon, and I'll just be a normal guy their plans of Magic, but I am very much looking forward to it. So we can play the depths out. We have Stifle open. We don't have a second black source, unfortunately. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 this turn potentially. Crop Up would have been really cool, yeah. Especially knowing the contents of the hand outside of the other card. Interesting they don't grow the Bowmaster here by just playing the Bowmaster. That makes me think they have a Murktide. No. Opting for Delver. Okay. Scrying. So close. Like we could Scrying for Urborg and play Urborg. And then we also have a blocker. Oh, maybe. If the Stelva doesn't flip. It's so close. Because we can stifle the ETB effect of Orcish Bowmaster, which means they won't get in the extra 1 damage and 1. So if we block here and this doesn't flip, we go to 1. I could try to stifle the Delver trigger, but then we only have 1 blocker. And we would then still take 2 from the Bowmaster in their hand, because this would grow, and the 1s would take 4. So I think we have to just hope that the Delver doesn't flip. Let's just quickly have a look, because yeah, currently at 4, so we can't take 4. We know they have a Bowmaster in hand, which is 2 damage essentially, which is this. So 2 and 2 is 4. So we need to stifle that, and we need this Delver not to flip. Yeah, I might as well make the 20/20 here. There's no point not to. Yeah, because even if they have Stifle in their hand, I could wait for like draw step, but alright. Here goes nothing. Wow, no flip. Wait, no. Wait, no. Oh yeah, 3, and we block here. The last card can't be Daisies either, right? Wow. Alright, so we block here. Go to take 3. They go to play an Orc. That resolves. Trigger goes on the stack. We add a blue. And we stifle this? Ooh, okay. I think we might have just stolen it. Yeah, exactly. That turn before, they played the Delver and not just played the Orcish, which I found really interesting as well, because that would have been 1 more damage back then as well. Could Duress for whatever, but yeah. Okay. That was, yeah, that was tight. I think that was a good showing of how this deck can sometimes have a little bit of awkwardness on mana when it comes to the utility lands, but you just got to play it out. You just got to see how it unfolds. What I'm really looking for here are probably the Flusters and the Dismembers are a liking. I like the Knot of this World because of bounce effects. I like the Needles because of Wasteland. Stifles aren't the... I guess Stifle does play into like Wasteland quite well. The Bog is good. The Boseiju is a little bit meh. I could see a Crop coming out. We do want to be pretty quick, but we aren't. We're kind of... We do have to get a little bit of setup, so I could say we drop like a Petal. I do like Spirit Guide because it's hidden, especially against the Daze deck. But of course, Lotus Petal does tap for, or does add black, which is relevant as well. It could even be like just 2 Not of This Worlds. That's still a fair amount of protection, and Flusterstorm is kind of playing the role of Not of This World, especially if we take it a little bit slower. Could see the Yav coming out, but like, if we see Submerge in game 2, potentially, it's just not worth it having it on the field. But there are definitely ways where you can set up that you lose the Yavimaya to a crop rotation effect before you make the 2020. I think this is okay. Duress is, I think, still fine. Especially for things like Force and Daze. Even if it gets dazed, I kind of see that as a win most of the time, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. This is a pretty nice hand because we have two Bayous, pretty much. We have Needle turn 1 for Wasteland. We have the Hexmage. We have crop rotation for Dark Depths, which is nice as well. So if we wanted, we could go turn 1 Needle off the Yavimaya, turn 2 crop rotate the Yav away for a Dark Depths, play Urborg, play Hexmage, and then just have the combo up. Probably aren't going to be able to go that fast against Delver, but it's nice to have. And if we need a third land, we have one in Scrying. Even as a bait spell into Daze, removal as well if needed is good, so pretty happy to keep this. Sometimes when you're on Depths against Delver, they're pretty aggressive on their first DRC. So even though you're paying 4 life, you're typically going to take a lot more from that DRC over the course of the game. With this sort of hand, I'd love to see fast mana off the top, just to be able to play around Daze for the first few turns. Plus is nice, obviously the mana isn't lining up here, but probably happier here to drop the... I'm trying to think if we got Dazed on the Needle and Wastelanded, which one are we more wanting? And it might actually be the Yavimaya is better because it does build our mana from there with Scrying, so I might actually lead on Urborg. And then go for Needle. But it's tough, because obviously like Dark Depths at the top is just Hexmage and Needle. Yeah, okay. That's quite nice. Sometimes you do see Delver bring in Meltdown, which is just like a clean way to deal with the Needle, potentially other shenanigans. But hey, hope you're well, Lawrence. Do you have any plans to play any Eternal this year in Paper? Did you go to Eternal Weekend? Oh, okay. Little win here was Brainstorm with a Delirium, with a Scry ability, and then no shuffle, only the Wasteland, which, to be fair, is a black source for them for a Bowmaster. I think here I'm actually happy to throw a Scrying into a Daze. And if we get a... I guess we could go for Dark Depths here. See if it resolves. I also wouldn't mind... a Rainbow Land for the Flusters. Nope and nope. Cool. Yeah, as long as they don't have a Shatter. At least if they do have a Sorcery Speed Shatter effect, we do have Crop Rotation to hold up potentially over the coming turns. That's also pretty interesting that they didn't do this before attacks to get in the extra 2 damage. Not only was the Ponder going to make this a 3/3, but also the counterbalance going into the bin does as such. Another Urborg. Okay. Now that's pretty interesting. So they have 3 cards. They chose to not shuffle their library, which makes me think they have some sort of borrower effect. Hey Les, very cool to hear. Hope you enjoyed it. Very nice to be back on D&T. Really cool deck, especially with Evan at the helm. I kind of want to dismember this turn, and I don't mind just holding up Yav. We could Sylvan Scrying for... Very cool to hear. Let us know how you go. We have a lot of time, which is good, but I should start thinking a little bit out loud. I want to throw this Urborg away for crop. I'm just not sure when I want to do it. I guess we could float black, float. But crop's just so good if they do. Like, if they have borrower here to bounce, at least you have the fluster for it. But I do need a... blue for that. So maybe it's just Dismember, Respect Days. Sorry. I always get this wrong. So Dismember this, pay life, and then 1. Okay. I don't really want to go for like depths here and play the Hexmage because of Bowmaster. I guess, yeah, I could do it into Bowmaster, but here I actually like just getting Mana Confluence, playing the Urborg, and then potentially here. I think here I'm then happy to Scrying for depths, and then next turn we have up Hexmage and Fluster around days. Tricky. See what they have. Hopefully it's just Bowmaster. Yeah. I think they learned their lesson. They're going to play a Bowmaster now. They could also have that Grixis card. There it is. The Molten Collapse. This card's really cool. I think it's like perfect legacy playability. We go after the Urborg. Okay. Guess crop here is pretty sweet. Thoughtseize isn't too bad. Go to 8. I think that's okay. Double bolt. Okay. So we're essentially at 4. Okay, I will play the depths. Worth it just in case we draw into exactly crop rotation. I guess exactly stage. Very cool to hear Panda. Love that. Yeah, I think it's pretty sweet. Oh, there it is. Okay. Can we? Yes. Okay. So what I think we do is, it's tough. I think we definitely, because we take, actually, I think we're all good. I was going to say we want to crop the turn, we want to fluster to add to Storm to counter the bolt. Unless the fluster already counters it. But yeah, maybe we don't need to, because we get to float green here off the Yav, get... What's this? That's bolt. Put us down to 2. Okay. What do we die to? We have another bolt? Oh, we went to the end step as well. That makes sense. Okay. So bolting us to 2. I don't think they have another bolt. Like, they've drawn 1 card since we Thoughtseized. So I think the play here is take the 2. They think they have lethal. We have the blocker. And we can block this just in case they have another orc? No, because that actually deals 1 to the face and then 1. I think we allow this. And then here we just want to go crop this away. Get stage. Green, green, copy. Keep the copy with no counters, trigger. And just hope a little bit. 2 cards for them. Go to attacks. Might as well. Block this one. Little hands up. Tarn. Okay. Hey, there we go. We won both of those games on 1 life. That's crazy. That just shows you how close especially Grixis with more reach and things like Bowmaster. That was pretty sweet. Love that. Love that. Delver does have a lot of interaction with depths, but I think generally we're pretty happy to face Delver. The early clock just isn't as good as usual. To be fair, they didn't see a Murktide, which would definitely change that clock. Oof, jittery. So yeah, very, very fortunate there. I think opponent had things to do, but didn't have great aggressive hands. But yeah, turn 1, that little sequencing of not playing the Bowmaster and just playing the Delver. Because even if you count Delver as 3 damage, the Orc is really 4. Because it's, or even more, because it's a point, it grows the Orc which gets in, and then it also is a point itself. Alright, let's cook. Not a great hand. We have 1 piece of the combo. Nothing else really going on. We have some protection, but really want a hand with both pieces. This is a hand with both pieces and protection. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty happy to probably bottom a Petal here. We get to go probably, if they play an island, we go Confluence into Lotus Petal, play around Days, and then probably Needle on Wasteland, just to be safe. I like having both crops because it is both pieces. Stage, Dark Tips. Oh, game might be over. It's gonna be a chalice, isn't it? Okay. So a multitude, but that's fine. That's legacy. You just gotta get used to it. We also have the mana for Boseiju, which is quite nice. Oh, okay, maybe this is going to be 8 cast. AC Needle, okay. Okay, not the worst. We're going to lead on the Mana Confluence because I don't want my opponent tapping this for black. I could play out the Petal. I don't see too much downside. Sometimes I do see opponents play a Chalice for 0 if they're on like a Kappa version, so I think I will just get it into play. And pass. This first game will be a lot of F6ing most likely. Seat. All right. And we hit some cool stuff. Another bauble chalice. Oh, also Hexmage. Hexmage off the top is a great draw because we can use Vampire Hexmage's ability to remove the counters of Chalice, making it a Chalice for 0, and then we can start casting our spells. Also, I'm happy to be playing out my lands, even though we are allowing them to tap this for non-2. I wouldn't mind even like Bog off the top if they use the Bobble here. Taking away all those as targets for the Emery is kind of cool. Sejiri Steppe. Not great. In this matchup, not too relevant outside of the 8-cast Flyer. I'll get to it. We'll remember it. It's called Thought Monitor. There we go, because it's blue. Yeah, we're just going to play this Sejiri Steppe and pass. To be fair, another way of winning this is potentially our stage copying their Saga. Yeah, I could expect Force here, seeing they... Or just a bunch of lands. Maybe some one-hits, like an Aether Spellbomb or a Shadow Spear. Or another Emery. But typically this looks like it's going to be a Force. Well, I guess we can check if it's Force. Okay. That would have really swung open the game, but started from the bottom. Now we're here. Patchwork. Very cool card. I really like the versions of 8-cast with this card that are a bit more aggressive and can really beat down very quickly. We got some pretty good cards. We have we actually have 3 Force of Vigors. We also have a Tower of the Magistrate, which allows us to get through Flying Thoughtseize, which is really cool. Pretty happy about that. Obviously Collector Ouphe. Dismember, I think maybe Dismember is where it's like an okay card, but not like a great card. Karakas isn't too bad either if you really want to deal with Emery. I think here we're just going to be going for Dark Depths because it turns on both Hexmage and Safekeeper off the top. They also can't have Force here, which is really nice. Oh, I mean, Boseiju's pretty good, right? Wow. The issue is... they can play another Chalice from the bin. There isn't even a way here to be able to like Boseiju and crop for Bog to turn off this Chalice. That's tough. Ah, there we go. Yes. Yes. Yes, Ricochet. Haha. I think that's the play. I think it's Boseiju, the Chalice, and then Needle the Emery. Oh, but yeah, it's tough. I really hope the last card isn't Force, because then if we give them a land, they do get to force it. But I think that's a fair trade. All good. And then funnily enough, next turn we have it, because we would have access to 3 mana. Oh, I guess we could get Yav, potentially. Hey, that's a great point. That's a really good point. I assume what you're saying is they probably would have cracked these baubles to find another blue card, so that if they wanted to, they could alternate cast Force of Will. All right. Also, little joke, my opponent's name is Let's Cook, and I said, kitchen time. Not my greatest. I thought it would get a response. It didn't get a response. Not my greatest. Wow, just more baubles from these baubles. Which does grow the patchwork, but... Ooh, Shadow Spear does change things. I reckon Shadow Spear was the last card in the hand. I reckon it was the one drop from earlier ago, once they played the Chalice for 1. Seven go to 12. Nothing vetted, nothing gained. All right. I don't want to crop just yet. Oh, that's pretty good. So they have 4 cards in hand. So they can force here. Let's have a quick think. So if we did use, say, Step for Thoughtseize, we then have crop away the Step. No, we're 1 mana short. We're 1 mana short of being able to Thoughtseize and also crop for stage, which is essentially 4 mana total. 2 for the 2 crops and then 2 for the activation. Here we have 3 mana, but if you get Dark Depths first, it can tap for mana as well. And I think we're in a position where we don't actually have a turn. So yeah, yeah. This is all good. There's the force. Probably why I should have done it in my turn. Yeah. because one left over doesn't really do a whole lot. Take 8. Yeah, we're actually just dead, because even if we take 8 here, they then have Shadow Spear on another one to then go for lethal. Hey, 10k Freeman. I have Abzan lands and I have red-white initiative. I kind of like initiative because it's very quick. And then for pre-modern, most likely green-white Terrageddon, which I've been playing a little bit and really enjoying. Okay. This is probably a matchup where I don't want the Stifles or the Duresses. We definitely want these 4. The Not of This Worlds are probably cut off by other things. Like, what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Aether Spellbomb. I'm thinking of Brazen Borrower. They're really the only 2. And we have a lot of answers for those. Yeah, I really do appreciate a quick deck for an event like Nationals. Needle is fine. I guess for like it's really nice to answer Emery, and also for something like potentially Saga if I really need. Actually, no. Maybe I don't need all needles. Safekeeper's not the worst. I kind of see Tower as my Safekeeper. Step is usually one we can cut. Yeah. Step does get through, like, specifically the blue flyer that I've already forgotten. 4 color seems to be the go. 4 or 5 color. I've seen Jund to make a huge comeback as well, which is always really cool. Hey Jody, a huge thank you for the sub. Hope you're doing well. Very cool for you to raid as well when I am playing a Dark Depths deck. That's a little uncanny. Hey all those from Nola Gold Stream. I'm Dukes on Twitch. I'm a legacy streamer from Australia. Typically streaming pretty fair decks. So now we're playing Rainbow Depths. We are up a game. Actually, we're down a game in this game against 8cast, but 1 against Grixis Delver in some pretty sweet fashion. Looking at how to sideboard for now. Obviously really like these as Artifact Enchantment Hate. I could see I guess Safekeeper playing into Chalice is a little tough. Don't really care about the Flusters. I could see like potentially Karakas. Like Emery is a bit of an issue if they do get it out early and just get that value going, so let's try this. There we go, right on time. Alright, here we have a pretty sweet hand, because we actually have access to... We took out the crop, but that's fine. Oh, sorry, the Sejiri Steppe. But here we have like Urborg into Thoughtseize, and then we just have the combo of Crop Rotation thanks to Gemstone Cavern. I don't mind that. We also, after the Thoughtseize, aren't just cut down by Chalice, which is nice. Yeah. Also being able to know their hand with things like Crop is very good. This version with Automaton usually plays Metallic Rebuke as well. Wow, they're going to force it. That makes me think they have some sort of removal piece in their opening hand. Which isn't too bad, because we do have the crop, if needed. We don't have the step anymore, if it is Brazen Borrower, specifically. But can't be unhappy with that Thoughtseize. And hitting 2 forces is kind of cool. I think maybe one change I could have made to my opening is play the Gemstone Mine, which would allow me to play around Chalice for one a little bit better, because we could, in response to Chalice, crop rotate into depths off the Gemstone and then just untap, play Urborg, play Hexmage. Just a seat. That's very interesting. Dismember. Okay. I don't like playing the Hexmage into open mana without being able to... I guess we could use it with the Spirit Guide. Could see if they tap out. I don't mind that, actually. They might think we're trying to play Dark Depths next turn. No, because we played the Urborg this last turn, so I think if we had Dark Depths, we would have played it and they would know that. But at least here, if they try to remove this or tap out for something, having the crop is very cool. And if not, pretty happy just to... Here it is. There's Needle. They have 3 cards left. They've already used 2 forces, remember? Nice. Oh, I could also tap that for black, but the ward doesn't obviously do anything, so... Thankfully. I can't think of a free spell. To be fair, they could have something like Mox Opal, but even for 1 mana, there's not a whole lot that deals with Marit Lage. Aether Spellbomb takes an additional blue. Brazen Borrower is 2 mana. Also, I think there is some thought around if you get rid of the Gemstone or the Urborg, potentially you actually get rid of the Urborg, because Gemstone allows you to Sylvan Scrying off any land drop that you draw into, whereas obviously Urborg you need to find a green source. I think now's a good time to look a little bit more into the sideboarding, and to do that, we're going to entrust Thomas Hepp. So Tom has all his videos via YouTube, and here he actually has some pretty cool sideboarding with Jonathan Yannick, which they talk through the whole thing. And thankfully, I believe, in the comments of one of these discussion videos, it could be this one. Actually, no, it's not. I know where it is. Actually, I might actually have it saved under stream. Turbo Sideboard, there we go. Nice. Haha. 8 cast should be on here. No, maybe it just wasn't in like the metagame at that point. What do we have? A minute, heaps of time. I would say this is pretty close to like Eldrazi's. There's Khan Echo, Ouphe, Force of Vigor, Karakas. So what are we looking at? I would say I do like the Dismembers at just keeping pressure off, although they're not great against their early threats in the patchworks because of ward. I do like that Karakas is pretty much a removal spell for Emery. They're never going to get it online unless they have Pithing Needle for Karakas, but seeing they only have so many Pithing Needle, I assume that's not a great use of it. The question is, what do we want, if anything? No, no. Potentially. Probably not. No. I feel like Not of This World is just going to rot in your hand. So I actually think we just run it back and see how it plays out. Yeah, really cool to see what happens with... Okay. This hand is tight because it doesn't have a second mana source, but it does have Needle. It does have some setup. It doesn't have a great answer to Patchwork, which is a little bit of an issue. Yeah, sadly Cage is only... Maybe I should actually look at that new card, which is very close to Cage. I kind of like this on the draw as well. It's really just Patchwork that is a little bit scary, but I'm pretty happy to try it out. Like, this isn't the world stage. We're in leagues. So I think if there's any time to try it out, here we are. It does enter Chalice. That's very true. And it's just turn 1 Emery as well. Nice. Okay. Just Saga. So I think to me, this just screams Ancient Tomb. But I'm probably not willing to throw a Force at just Saga. Gemstone. Okay. Honestly, here, I could go for Thoughtseize. We could also just Needle the Saga, which turns off the Ancient Tomb line and potentially pushes them to evolve their battlefield, which then we have Force of Vigor to hit. Could also Thoughtseize, but I would probably rather them spend the mana to cast their spells and then just force them instead of spending the mana to Thoughtseize. Yeah. I feel like the only other way you play out a Saga turn 1 is if you have Seat of the Synod and a Mox Opal and a hand that enables that mana. They're gonna force this. Okay. It's not too bad. Getting a Thought Monitor as well is very relevant as a pretty low-key blocker. At least if they play Ancient Tomb, we can hit Saga and a token potentially. Oh, just an island. Emery. Draw a card here. Oh, perfect timing. Okay. We do want to dismember it. And then thankfully they don't actually get any real value off the Saga. They do get to tap it for mana, but that's about it. But really interesting actually to see them be pretty aggressive with the Saga and getting that online. Potentially to try to get to Spellbomb as soon as possible. We do lose this land next turn, but I don't think that's a huge concern. Just in case of Force. We get to Thoughtseize first and then Emery. Okay. So we know about the Otawara, which is great. We don't really care about the Chalice because we have the Force of Vigor. Honestly, I think we hope that next turn they untap. Saga goes to 3, they float a mana, they get something like an Otawara, like a Spellbomb, and then they use that mana with the island to cast the Chalice, and then we just Force of Vigor. So I think we just take the Force. Now we know that the hand's obviously not that great. We can now dismember the Emery. And then next time we probably throw this away for Scrying to get Stage, if nothing else happens. Alright, float mana. Can only assume it's Spellbomb. Maybe it's Needle. No, it is Spellbomb. I was going to say Needle and go for either Hexmage or Stage, but here we see the Chalice, Thankfully, we knew that was coming. They play a Petal out. I guess that allows them to sack this, so I actually am just going to force in response. Now they're left with Otawara and one land. Now they have the Petal. Can you imagine if we just draw Hexmage off the top and just clean this out? That would be very sweet. Sometimes it does just come down to luck. But I think we actually played this pretty well. And we set ourselves up to actually have Hexmage this turn with Dark Depths. Next turn, they could potentially... I'm trying to think what they could draw into. I guess Ancient Tomb. They could draw a Soul Land. And there it is. Alright, we got a game. At least now we're hitting for 2, and the Tomb, if they want to use it, hits for 2. Oof. Okay, that's actually a pretty nice hit, although this doesn't tap for mana right now, so... Needle would be great. Tower does... Tower does it? No, Tower is artifacts, not colorless. I think the best draw for them probably was Saga, because they can hold up Saga and Otawara, and then if they want to, they can just make the Saga token. Okay. That does give them some ability to start building out their board potentially, while also holding up Otawara, but choose not to, which is good for us. Ooh, Spirit Guide's actually quite cool. I probably don't mind Ouphe here. The other line is Spirit Guide, Gemstone Mine, Sylvan Scrying, get Yavimaya, and then play Collector Ouphe. Yeah, I don't mind going for, like, building out mana. This also increases the clock, which is nice, and turns off a few of their threats. But they do have 5 mana to play with. They can also now use these tombs without losing the 2 life, which is worth mentioning. I think the best thing about Depths is, especially Rainbow Depths, which is very quick, is you get to use your time very well. You get to really think out your lines. You aren't too forced into tricky situations. Bog's kind of cool, pretty relevant, but it is a black source, which is nice. There's no point targeting us. Like, if they brought in, like, Surgicals, doesn't really matter. I could hold it for Emery, yes. Could hold it for Emery. I guess with Collector Ouphe, it's not the worst. But I do like having an untapped black source so that next turn we can potentially jam the other Hexmage, and then just have lethal over 2 turns. 4 next turn puts them to 5, the extra Hexmage potentially puts them down to... yeah. Okay. Thankfully, Emery's also a 1/2, which means it's not a great blocker. For a second, I thought it was a 1/3, which is actually quite good on this board. Yeah, this is probably their last chance if they can put blockers into play to actually use these tunes for 2 mana, or we'll have to rely on the Yavimaya Cradle, Yavimaya mana to get things on the board. It's a pretty nice pickup. If they try to just bounce the Hexmage here, I'm pretty happy to sack and hit the Dark Depths. They actually, it's interesting here because they have to use a tomb. Yeah, it's really tough for them because they have to use a tomb, go to 2, go to 3 to cast it, and then go from there. Crop would have been pretty sweet, yeah. That would have been awesome. Nice. Delver and 8-cast. And hey, a huge thank you to those from Jody's stream who stuck around. If you would like to support this channel, you can follow me on Twitch, of course. You can also find me on YouTube, on Twitter. Here's the Discord. And of course, through the GreenSunsZenith.com. Of course, I type it incorrectly, which is a resource dedicated to Legacy Maverick. Which, big shout out to Harry, Mark, Clips, and Achilles for doing really well with the deck recently. It's a tough time, especially right now, because for those of you who are unaware, Magic Online, Daybreak Games, has given everyone access to God accounts because they had a big downtime over the weekend, which is really cool. So if you do have an account, make sure you log in, you go to the store, you add in promo code repair, and then you'll get access to everything. I think until probably pretty soon. It's over pretty quick. Okay, well, here we actually have a pretty nice hand because we have the combo, we have Terminal Interaction, we have Protection. Pretty cool to keep this. I mean, turn 2 we get a Thoughtseize, hold up Stifle potentially. It is tough. I feel like potentially the downside of only being a plan A deck is where people get a little bit put off by the deck and would rather something like an Abzan Depths deck or a Naya Depths deck, which has the backup plan of, or you could say the main plan of, you know, another Reliquary, Reclaimer, Minsk and Boo. Is there any reason to lead on Mana Confluence, which allows us to hold up? I think I'd rather hold this in case they wasteland us. Okay. So this is going to be a race. We do have the Stifle. Okay, we're actually pretty good here. We take the Chalice because actually that's quite annoying. We can potentially race this. I guess it makes sense, but they play the Tomb, which is the card we don't know about. Ooh, nice. So we get to play the Mana Confluence, which allows us to hold up Stifle, and then we get to Thoughtseize them again. Move these as known. So they could play the Muxus, but we do get to Stifle it if they do, so I think we just take the Ringleader here. Could take Spirit Guide. That's true. They play the City. Spirit Guide. Oh, they have another one. Thankfully, trigger. Stifle, baby. Haha. You love to see it. And now the hand is City. Oh, we even drew the Hexmage. Damn. Alright, quick think. Let's just black, green. Take the Hexmage. Crop the Yav, I guess? Doesn't really matter. Get Dark Depths. We will just make it now, just in case they're on like a Wasteland version. But now we have the Not of this World in case they have some sort of effect. But thankfully, this worked out pretty well. Nice. Alright. We gamers. I think here we like to just take the Duress out and add in the 2 Dismember. That seems like a pretty easy switch. I would assume their main angle is going for Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon. If I look at MTG Goldfish, and say the last 90 days more. Muxus. Crater Maker. Crater Maker. So they have 2 Blood Moons. So we should bring in the... we can take out the Bog. That's an easy cut. We probably should just bring in all Force of Vigors as just interaction. Needle, probably not so much. Like, I guess you could Needle Battle Cry Goblin. Broadside, you could. It is probably a way of them actually racing. We care about the Chalices. We care about the Blood Moons. So I think this is probably a matchup where it's like, hey, we need to combo faster than them. So we want to keep most combo pieces. I think it's just going to be the Needles. I think that's it. Like, you could potentially have the Karakas, but if they have Muxus on the field, it's really going to be Stifle or Bust. Graph Cage doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think this is it. All right, what do we have? We have a bit of an awkward one. We have like stage this into scrying for Urborg, but then it's two turns. Play Urborg, play Dark Depths, play Hexmage. Does Cage stop the Muxus trigger? That's an interesting one. Let's get back up a copy of Goblins, because I think it is... I don't think you like exile them. It's like reveal the top 6 cards of your library, put all Goblin cards with converter cost 5. I would assume so. I'm just not sure about the reveal. Not like look at the top. It's kind of different. Put them onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom. Maybe it does actually. Maybe it does. That's a good point. So what do we have? We have turn 1 stage, Spirit Guide, Urborg. But then the following turn, it's really just play Urborg. Play Hexmage, I guess. The one nice thing about this deck is that I think when it comes to a hand, the 3 cards you want, Dark Depths, Hexmage, Urborg. So you could mull to 3 and find those. And then anything on top is gravy. If you find a Thoughtseize, fantastic. If you find a Pithing Needle when needed, fantastic. Hey, thanks, Lawrence. All the best. Really enjoyed having you here. Really cool to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. I just think it's a little bit too slow. And it doesn't have interaction with Mind Goblin either, a card we want to remove when it comes into play. So... I think we mulligan this. Here we actually have well, a pretty awkward hand. We do have Force of Vigor open if needed. We do have the Dismember. We do have Scrying to find depths, we just don't have the extra mana. Would you keep this as a 6? It's a weird one. You don't hate this. Let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. I like that. Yeah, I like testing it. So we'll keep this bottom and Urborg. Makes sense to drop the Urborg. Outside of having like a green source and crop, the second Urborg is pretty irrelevant. What are good sideboard cards? Verse Depths, in addition to Karakas and Wasteland. Pithing Needle is not too bad if your opponent's on either Hexmage or Stage. Ensnaring Bridge is a pretty good one. Cards like, I think it's Blood Sun or Alpine Moon can be really annoying, but of course can be answered by Force of Vigor. Early Moon. I would say Early Moon is a good one. Ooh, Spirit Guide, never didn't have it. Nice. Okay. So we're just going to go Urborg here because we want to hold up the Dismember. And then next turn we get to... it's actually quite tough. I think just because of Mind Goblin, I'm happy to pass here. Really want to use this for the Scrying, but also want to hold up the Dismember. Patron. A little bit awkward, we don't really care about that. So we're just going to let that slide. They get the Muxus. Okay, that's a little bit scary. Free mana? Oh, crop. Oh, we're so close. I feel like we have this. Spirit Guide? No. I think we just scry for depths and then hold up Dismember. Yeah. I was trying to think if there's a way to like get Hexmage into play Scrying and Crop, but that's of course 5 mana. But I assume here what we're going to see is Soul Land and Simian Spirit Guide. If it's Chrome Mox... Oh, no? Okay. What are we going to see here? Mind Goblin? Namesticker Goblin. Why do I call it Mind Goblin? Okay. So one thing to say here is... when this creature enters the battlefield from anywhere other than a graveyard or exile, if it's on the battlefield and you control none of your creatures, if it's on the battlefield. So thankfully here, we get to, in response to the trigger, dismember the goblin. And this allows us to stifle the ability, because the goblin is no longer there, they get no mana. We know that Muxus is still in hand. So it has to be green source off the top, really. Like, let's be honest here. Not. Okay. Okay. Actually, why? Yeah, it's just Hexmage here. And then pass. Yeah. I for some reason, I thought we had to hold up the crop rotation, but we don't here. It's really hoping here... Okay. Yeah, like, how much do they make? It's literally die roll. 4 mana. They're 1 short. 5 mana. Spirit Guide. Okay. Alright, let's see what they hit. Is there a reason to Hexmage in response? I'm trying to think. I guess we might as well. Like, unless they hit something... Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of like a steel creature type effect. Or like a sling gang. I think it's worth just allowing it. Okay, that's not too bad. We just get to block one of these. I mean, we block Muxus as the biggest creature. We take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to 9. Play Battle Cry. They have 0 cards left. Block here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We go to 6. There it is. Very nice. Nice. Very cool to mulligan there and then be rewarded by like making sure the hand has a decent plan against what we're up against. And taking into consider Mind Goblin. So that was probably the big one there, having Dismember for the Mind Goblin. I think it was also quite a good matchup. I think it's much easier than the traditional Vile Goblins with Wasteland. Yeah, especially with, I believe those versions don't play Lackey, so you don't even have a turn to Muxus that way. You typically have to go for other benches, which are a bit harder to put together. Yeah, relying on the Mind Goblin can be tough. That's very true. They probably don't have the red sources for Lackey. Yeah, that's actually crazy that a mono red deck just doesn't have the red sources for a little Wanderer. Nice. Been pretty good so far. This deck's been really nice and consistent. And to be fair, has just shown up the right card when we've really wanted it. Alright, let's do this. No, we have both pieces of the combo, but not the ones that go together. Okay, we do have the combo here. Also, here... Okay, well, to be fair, right now we have turn 1 Mana Confluence Wasteland, and then turn 2 Petal Hexmage Dark Depths, which is pretty sweet. Bojuka Bog, I would love that. And I would love to know, what is the scene in Portland? Do you play weekly? Do you play monthly? Is it one store that runs Legacy? Are there multiple options? I feel like there's a lot of American towns that have a really solid turnout like that. We're going to keep this. I think we're going to bottom the Reclaimer, just because if we need it, Sylvan Scrying gets us Sejiri Steppe. Weekly FNM's 30 plus players every week. Some of the best legacy killers in the world. Damn, okay. Well, I would love to go there and get wrecked. I'm not going to play out the Petal. I think Not of This World is probably where we want to be off the top. Okay. Volk is interesting. I don't really want to get dazed here. If we draw a land, I'm pretty happy. Oh, okay. Well, that just sometimes happens. So we're gonna go black and black. Cast Hexmage. Play Depths. We do have Will Wong. Great person, great gamer. Nice. Nice. All right. So because this was naming Wasteland, that doesn't give away that's why we got the win, but I'm going to assume this is Delver. So I think we're going to board that way. So back to Hep. Here we go. Turbo. Grixis Delver, 2 Decay, or as we have Dismembers, and 2 Fluster. That makes a lot of sense. And I think it's just going to be some fast mana out. Let's look again. We're looking at G, Grixis, 2 Needles, 3 Not of This Worlds. That's where I differ a little bit because I do really like Needle and Wasteland. I don't mind dropping a Crop. And then I think last game we did fast mana. I'm actually going to quickly stop the recording and then start it again because that allows me to go to captures, open up this one, and then allows me to go see how we sideboarded for Delver. Crop, Lotus Petal, Elvish Spirit Guide, Not of This World. Okay, just a little trim. Not of This World, Elvish Spirit Guide, Lotus Petal. Done. Nice. How amazing is technology? Okay, we have a pretty sweet hand. We have Mana Confluence into Thoughtseize while holding up Petal for crop rotation. The Petal also allows us to play the Thoughtseize around days, so I really like this. Testicular and Mr. Underground Sea, very nice. 2 players I definitely watch and keep an eye on Twitter. 2 very good players. Wow, okay. This is always really interesting, and I'd love to see what chat's thoughts are. Why is my opponent keeping a 7 and then brainstorming straight away? What is happening here? Is my opponent trying to like win right now? Is this going to be Storm? Yeah, it might be Storm. My thought is that it's never a player who's new and is just casting Brainstorm as a 1 mana play. It's typically someone who was very close to going off and just didn't have it. Stifle's a pretty amazing draw to pick up if it is Storm, because of course you can stifle the Storm trigger. We're going to start with a Thoughtseize this turn. Force Pit Brainstorm, wow. Okay. They have lined up very well, let's be honest. ST. Folk, okay. Ooh, Petal. Magus. Can we beat Magus here? We do have Dismember. So what we do when we draw Dismember is we crop for depths first to come in with no counters on it. So there's nothing really to do here. It's kind of cool. But I think for now we don't need it. It's also, oh, now that's actually pretty interesting. No, because we need the Dismember. Ah, they're gonna be show and tell. The Muggle sees all. Honestly, these sort of games just go as like 2 mana beatdown. That's all I see here. Sadly, we can't copy the island because the stage is currently a mountain with no abilities. But I do like your thoughts. Don't be sorry at all. Okay, interesting. Like, is there a world where we just want to get the Reclaimer into play? What is this Spirit Guide achieving with these spells while the Magus is out? Honestly, I think if anything, I like using the Petal. I guess because the Stifle, maybe we want to... like, what are we stifling? For any of the creatures that come into play, even if we stifle the ability, Atraxa, Archon, Emrakul, we're just dying to that creature anyway. So I think the better play is probably using the... I was going to say use the Petal, just in case like they have like a shatter effect and get rid of this. The Spirit Guide is a little bit more safe that way. But I do like the flexibility of Petal. Potentially also, another Petal allows us to Hexmage. Could Stifle a sneak that buys us 1 turn? Okay, let's go with Exile Spirit Guide, play Reclaimer. Sadly, no. Magus is checked. I'm going to say Magus is checked. I don't know the actual judge terms, but they are seen on different layers, and Magus is the top layer above Yavimaya and Bojuka Bog. But I believe it's different with Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I'm not too sure how that works. Yeah, so there is a world as well where we can block with the Reclaimer and then go and get a Dark Depths after damage. But of course, we have to get the Reclaimer online first. But maybe Crop Rotation can help out with that. So this is interesting because we could block, activate, get 1 Dark Depths. We have 1 land in the bin. Crop rotate another land. We have 2 lands in the bin. Get another Dark Depths. Then we lose 1 to the legendary. I guess even due to Magus, we lose 1. That puts 3 in the bin. We still have a Dark Depths in play, and we get to kill the Magus here. We don't get to do that. I guess we do get to do that. Oh, we don't get to do that with Stifle open, though. I don't believe there's another way to put 3 cards in the bin, because Reclaimer finds 1, or Reclaimer gets 1 in the bin, Crop puts 1 in the bin, and then the only other way to put a land into the bin under Magus is Legendary. They could have counter magic, but I'd like to put them onto that. Yeah, we can do that first. So we can go float a mana, sack this, crop rotate stage away. Okay, so they force that. That's fine. And now we just want to use the ability to probably get depths. That makes sense, because it also just taps for mana for Dismember anyway. And at least that's 1 force down. Sneak. They have 1 card left. Yikes. Okay. Spirit Guide Petal. Spirit Guide Petal. Dismember's still. Stifles are interesting. Karakas. Crop probably, because we just want to be faster. I probably do like the Force of Vigors. Don't need the Bog. Yeah, I actually don't think we need the Stifles. Like, I think the Needle is the Stifle for Sneak and Show, and that's really the only Stifle we kind of want. I could see a Crop going out, and probably the Not of This Worlds. I mean, Crop, yeah, Crop's interesting. Oh, Flusters. I do like Fluster, mainly for show and tell, but also for fighting over Force of Will. $25 lands. Like, I could drop a card, but I think hitting mana is pretty important. Maybe it's a Force. The main thought of Force is a Sneak, potentially, or an Omniscience, which most lists are on. I don't mind this. We'll see how this goes. I feel naked without Force for some reason. So close. Oh, so close with double. This just isn't good enough because we don't have a way to find Dark Depths. We can just draw nothing off the top. We have the... Yeah, okay. Oh, we don't have the black. I guess we do have the Scrying. Okay. Okay, so what we have here is Petal into Stage into Scrying. And then we have the Dark Depths with Hexmage and Thoughtseize backup, potentially. Probably trim the other Hexmage. They went to 5. Okay, no Ancient Tomb. No Ancient Tomb. There we are. Lotus Petal. Do it. Ah, that's not the worst. Like double Thoughtseize. Oof. Force Pitch Ponder. We'll do it again. Yes. We take the show and tell here every day, right? Yeah. I'll let them have the Atraxa. Oh. All right. Tough. I could thin. I'm trying to think if there's a reason to keep the Spirit Guide. Probably not. Okay. Don't really care about that. So that's a little win. What'd they pitch? A Brainstorm. Interesting. They kept the Atraxa. Maybe for show and tell. Oh wow, I can't even Magus next turn because I can't even Dismember next turn because I don't have the mana for it. Yeah, tough. All right, we can finish this out. We can do well. We got this. Six minutes. Finish up before midnight. That would be really nice. But hey, a big thank you to all of you for coming in and watching. Very much appreciate your viewership and support. No. Like the one lander with Reclaimer isn't good enough to find Dark Depths. Well, if you, I mean, yeah, no. One crop, no. Okay, probably pretty happy to keep this in bottom 1 scrying. That's bottom 2. Okay, it's probably the other scrying because we have the stage. I assume the crop here. You never know. I did have Blue Blast in my sideboard before the stream, which is definitely a consideration. Like the Grafdigger's Cage maybe isn't needed. Bauble Swamp. Okay. I wonder if, oh, it's so, I think here we just go for it. We just go for scrying for depths and then over a few turns play it. Especially if they're like a opposition agent deck potentially. Some Beseech the Mirror deck. Yeah, that could definitely be a possibility. The Bauble is interesting, but Volta Whispers also runs into that same category, so... Oh, so close. Like you could see if like Yav is pretty much in this in the spot of City of Brass, which wouldn't allow us to have the combo next turn, but would allow us to cast this Duress or Thoughtseize, which is interesting to note. Hey Maverick Joe, very cool to see you. I feel like right now they're counting out what they got to do. We have some pretty good cards here. Force of Vigor, Collector Ouphe. We have the Flusterstorms, potentially Surgical. And Needles most likely. Blusters. Horses. I'm unsure on the Surgicals. I think Reclaim is a little bit too slow. Sejiri Steppe. Surgicals. Yeah, that's how we're going to sideboard. Grafdigger's Cage is interesting. But I don't think it does enough. It does hit Beseech, but that's really it. Actually, it hits Gaia's Will, but that's really it. Yeah, I think we're happy with this. Still have a pretty nice way to combo off pretty quickly, and then have some cheap interaction to hopefully get there. Yeah, Cage doesn't hit Beseech. I mean, it's Gaia's Will, but very slow. Like turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Scrying. No. Okay, interesting. I mean, I don't mind it. Turn 1, hold up Fluster. Turn 2. What are we bottoming here? Kind of have to keep the Spirit Guide. I think it's the Scrying, but that's a tough one. What are we doing? Gemstone Mine, hold up Fluster. Don't want to get Thoughtseized. We do want the Force of Vigor. We do want this. I guess we don't need the Scry. Ah, yeah. I'm trying to think if we can like crop the Gemstone Mine. I guess we don't need the Spirit Guide. Yeah, because we can crop away the Gemstone Mine into a Yavimaya, play the Dark Depths, and then use the Yav to Sylvan Scrying for stage. So I think it is Spirit Guide. And then if they try to go like all in on turn 1, we have the Force Pitch Scrying and then a slow crop rotation to get there. Opponent's gone to 6 cards as well. The only thing is that if we don't cast Fluster this turn, we're probably not casting it for the rest of the game. City, wow. If we draw a land here, we're actually pretty happy as well. Just not that land. Still cast it. No, I think we just hold up Fluster here. still cast it, still play it, sorry. Sorry, why? That's very true. Been having a pretty good think. Force of Vigor pretty key here as well at keeping them off beseech, hopefully. If we get to respond in some way. End step, if they do nothing, we're just going to cycle this away most likely for Yav. You can have this. Artifact land, please. 3 mana. Wishclaw with 1. Okay. Mox Opal, there we go. Hit these two now. Oh, they can use it. I was going to turn off the Mox Opal here. Hopefully that doesn't change things. Oh, they are going to activate it. Nice. That means we can potentially crop for Urborg, play our depths, and then with 3 mana we have access to Wishclaw for 1. Probably don't want to give them the Wishclaw, that's to be fair. We are still destroying. Actually, that's very true. Yeah. Should have thought of that. Maybe he'll actually turn this into a Urborg so that Hexmage is a live draw. Or just go for Sage and then have the combo that way. Maybe it's better just to go for Stage here. Yeah, I think it is. Like, what if we don't draw Hexmage? Then we're just kind of, yeah. I think in this case as well, we want to play the Bog this turn, not the Depths, so that we definitely have the mana the following turn. Come on, Lotus Petal. Come on, Beseech. That's all we want to see. 1, 2, 3. Ritual. Nice. They draw 1 card here. Infernal Tutor maybe? Infernal Tutor for a bounce spell. Thankfully that's sorcery speed. Okay. Ooh. I think we're just running this back. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. On the draw is a little bit tougher, but I feel like Force of Vigor is better. Okay, so we have 3 mana. It's not the worst. Like, I guess if they Thoughtseize us and take the Thoughtseize, it's pretty. We don't have much going. So we have a quick 20/20. I don't mind this. I think on the draw it's just good enough. Come on, Thoughtseize. Turn 2. We can scry for a land and put it into play. Maybe it's a case of having to wow. Yeah, maybe I have to go to Force of Vigor on the draw. Like we can Spirit Guide, but we can't crop because there's no land. Tough. Like Spirit Guide Veil here would be pretty sweet. Yeah. Well, we finished 3-2. Still pretty cool. Still pretty happy. Yeah. Deck was really cool. I've got to go to bed. It's 12:15, but a huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched. A big thank you to the new subs and the new followers. I very much appreciate it. And a big shout out to Jody Keith, aka Nola Gold, for yeah, coming in as well. Yeah, big fan. So that was really cool. I'm gonna see who else is streaming and send you guys over there. Duress is playing some Magic. Nice. A big thank you once again. Catch you next time. I'll be back probably on Thursday night. We'll see how it goes. Thanks.